So, about a month or so ago, I had the honor and privilege of casting this absolute train wreck of a Zerg versus Terran. It was recently played during the Dallas Regionals for the Asian region, and honestly, this is gonna be one of the dumbest games of StarCraft that I've ever seen at a high level. I have already casted this, it's been a little bit, but I figured I'm gonna redo it again because, well, I can imagine a lot of you are gonna get a kick out of this one too. Spotting right here in the top right hand corner of a map called Dynasty. Playing with the red Terran SCVs from China, we have none other than XY. And his opponent in the opposite corner with the blue Zerg drones. He's from Taiwan, and he goes by the name of MeomaikA. Now, I have featured MeomaikA several times before on the channel, and as you may remember, this man, he plays weird games of StarCraft. One of his favorite build orders is to go for a pull first into a second base, and then eventually a lair with a 2-base Hydra attack. He goes for all these weird strategies that really don't make a whole lot of sense in my mind. So I was fully going into this particular match at the time thinking, yeah, MeomaikA is going to be the one to look out for here. He is very likely going to be the one who will make this match a little strange. Well, it turns out XY also is more than able to rise to the challenge. Honestly, one of the most fun games of StarCraft 2 that I've seen in quite a long time, for sure. I really enjoyed it. This is kind of, in my mind, like a, you know, like a viewer-submitted game, but then played at the professional level. I mean, these guys are incredibly successful in their own rights. Maybe that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, but as far as like the strategies go, certainly not something we have really seen before. Alrighty, so it's a pull first into an expansion and then eventually a very quick Roach Warren. So the advantage of going for the pull first is that you can indeed go for that Roach Warren incredibly early on. Command Center gets scouted immediately by MeomaikA. He is sending that Overlord in quite deep. Reaper coming across the map right now, and it is going to be met by a bunch of Zerglings. Now, I love this little play right here from MeomaikA. What he's trying to do is drag that Reaper away as far as possible. Now, we are playing Ring Around the Rosie, but look at this Reaper. There's all these little moves. It's been a little bit since I did see this game, so some of it will certainly be a surprise for me once again, but I do remember some of the details. Alrighty, so Roaches are coming. The thing is, this looks like a very committed Roach attack right here from MeomaikA. And the problem is, XY is going to see 2 Roaches. Now that right there immediately sends alarm bells off inside of the heads of Terrans, because usually it would be at least 7. Usually it's about 7 or maybe 9 Roaches that Zerg players send across the map when they do it this early on. So XY probably assuming that this might be like the first batch of them. He didn't actually check the drone count over here, so he doesn't really know. He's probably assuming that this is the first batch of Roaches, or maybe like a bunch of Roaches that are trailing behind the main pack. But this is just a handful of them. Just a couple, ready to harass the SCVs over here. In the meantime, over on the high ground of the main base, we've got 2 bunkers coming up. There's a Cyclone on the production tab. Starport is being rushed out. I really think this is kind of fun. Going into a Roach Warren so quickly, just making 2 Roaches, scaring the Terran, and then ultimately droning heavily behind it. Yeah, especially because MeomaikA has that image of being a bit of a cheeser. I think if you see him rushing a bunch of Roaches across the map, you immediately get maybe a little bit more terrified than you absolutely need to be. Anyways, it's gonna be a tech lab right here as well in the factory, and we should see the big switcheroo here in just a moment. I think we should. Because in the meantime, this Roach Rush is going to be met with a Fusion Core. Now, there is only one reason why you would make a Fusion Core at the 4-minute mark. It's quite a common structure, really, in a macro game. At the 4-minute mark, though, the only reason to make a Fusion Core is to go into battle cruisers. There's a couple of really good late-game upgrades inside of the Fusion Core, like Liberator Ranged and like a Medevac healing boost, that sort of thing, but this is really only ever made for battle cruisers. Interestingly enough, it is going to be a Banshee first as well. So even though we're quote-unquote rushing the Fusion Core, I don't know if it was necessarily the plan, but even though we're kind of rushing the Fusion Core, I think the Banshee here is made mostly just to make sure that that natural expansion can actually mine, because those Roaches have turned themselves into Ravagers, a little bit more of a gas investment, and MeomaikA just keeps on harassing here. New SCVs have been rallied on top of that gas geyser just to, well, continuously make the workers, but there's really no reason to send them to the mineral line in the main base. So that Banshee should go, yeah, and shut down these Ravagers for good. But I think they have certainly paid for themselves. They would love to land some big biles right there. I wonder if actually he could have stood over there and then biled across. Wonder if he could have had the whole stack. That would have been amazing. Anyways, the Ravagers at this point are gone. And there's a battle cruiser on the back of it. Now this is going to be something that will be very difficult for MeomaikA to figure out. Actually, for MeomaikA's sake, this is a very late lair. Now luckily, he is going to go into a bunch of spore crawlers. I think these spores are made just in case it would be a second Banshee. He doesn't really know exactly what the follow-up is going to be here from the Terran, but it is something that is worth noting. Obviously, he did see the gas geyser there, so he knows... Actually, he never did. Wow. Maybe he actually didn't know that the SCVs were hiding inside of that gas. Maybe that's the reason why. Okay, I was thinking maybe he did see that second gas in the, or that gas rudder in the natural taken so quickly that he figured, you know what, this is possibly going to be a cheeky little attack here from my opponent. Either way though, battle cruiser is out, and we're gonna be jumping it straight towards the other side of the map. There are two spores, originally meant to help aid against those Banshees, but for the time being, I mean, that second one, I think you should probably move it over, at the very least run the drones. Hydralisk then comes up right now, which, well, at the very least, MeomaikA was thinking about making Hydro Den. Usually a very questionable choice in general against battlecruiser play. I just don't think it's that great. But if it's only a single battlecruiser, you can definitely make it work. If it's like one battlecruiser, maybe two, maybe three, I think Hydras are fine. When Terrans, however, go to more than like, yeah, more than 2 to 3 or so, I would say you really want to focus on Corruptors instead. In the meantime, though, XY has decided to go into additional factories. He's gone for double armory here, too. Those zergling run-bys are still going to town, but they have been deflected quite effectively. Battlecruiser here, smelling queen blood, and it is indeed going to be able to snipe Brenda there inside of that natural expansion. Because of these openers that MeomaikA plays, he usually doesn't have a lot of queens available. Drop a Lord, by the way, coming up already. But he usually doesn't have a lot of queens available, so there's really not a whole lot of base defense here. Nor is there really any creep spread. So MeomaikA not really able to connect his bases very effectively. He's not going to allow those queens to move around very effectively either. And that means that another queen falls. Nice micro right there by XY, who's going to be jumping that BC all the way back home. And even though one of the SCVs is currently repairing the command center, rather than the battlecruiser, eventually both of those bad boys should be back at full HP. Drop-a-Lord is here. What are we going to use the Drop-a-Lord for? Well, we don't have pneumatized carapace yet, so for the time being, not a whole lot. Other than the mechanical unit production though, other than the transition towards Terran mech, apparently XY found himself with a little bit more cash, a little bit more gas, and he's decided to go for a second battlecruiser. Now the timing of this BC is strange. Normally, we see battlecruisers rushed out as quickly as possible, if we see battlecruisers at all. This is XY just sort of adding another one into the mix. It's an interesting choice because overall I don't think it's that strong of a play. But if you know your opponent is a fan of the hydralisk, I don't think I can really... Yeah, I can't really complain too much about it, because it is definitely a powerful tool to have in your arsenal as long as you teleport them away. I think if you use the tactical jump ability defensively, battlecruisers against hydras are really, really good. In the meantime though, MeomaikA happily expanding. He's now adding on more Drop-a-Lords. So I guess we will never know what the original intent of that first Drop-a-Lord was, but we are making more right now. There's one that's going up north. I would imagine the other ones are going to be joining it too. Battlecruiser at the front, this is the OG, 19 kills right now. Second battlecruiser at this point is available, but that one is going to be flying across rather than jumping. And actually this one also returned by just using its good old thrusters. More Drop-a-Lords. So, we have a grand total of 8. This is a mass zergling drop. Now, battlecruisers are good. They make it difficult for the Zerg to really attack, but they're not great at map control, right? You just don't have a lot of vision because these units are freaking expensive. 400 minerals, 300 gas each. They're good to like sort of park at your main, defensive section of the map. You just sort of set them up over here, And they will defend very nicely, but you don't really know a lot about the map. And here we go. A mass zergling drop is heading towards that pocket expansion here for XY. XY crossing his fingers and hoping that there's no banelings inside of it. Well, it won't be the case. Couple lings apparently on the wrong side. In the meantime, a hydraling ball also moving through the center of the map. Overlords are going to be hanging in a corner, but that's already 13 of them going down. A lot of siege tanks have been set up over here at the front as MeomaikA tries to get the jump on everything. Hydras pushing into a bunch of siege tanks in a choke point. It is one of the most cost-efficient ways that Terrans can ever take down hydralisks. Still though, a lot of damage done. Those battle cruisers, after deflecting the lings, apparently they have been used right now to jump on over, and they're gonna take down a couple more hydras as they try to retreat. Alrighty. Expansions were made. Bases were taken here by MeomaikA, but he is not really mining until right about right now. XY is thinking, yo, these battle cruisers are doing quite well. You know, I'll add on a third, and now I'll make a fourth as well. I think if you are gonna make this many, you really want to be upgrading air weapons too. Triple armory, I mean, it's weird, but I don't think I would necessarily hate it. Bunkers coming up right now at the front too. Interestingly enough though, there's really no units that can fit inside of the bunkers. I think this is just to create a little bit of a, as we do have another link drop coming in. It's just to create some more drama for those potential Hydra attacks. Now look at the zerglings. I love this attack right here from MeomaikA so much. There is just... He knows that he can't kill the battle cruisers here, but he's still going to be able to take down 17 SCVs in the process. And right now, we are already up to 46 workers killed, and there's going to be a lot more. Bunkers at the front, mostly empty, but still, yeah, providing a target right here for these hydralisks to shoot at. Battle cruisers once more jump in this direction. And they're going to be able to force those hydras back once more. All right, another battle cruiser on the production tab. Hive coming up right now for MeomaikA, who now is all the way up to 81 drones, so his income is going to be significantly better than that of the Terran. XY though, really just trying to survive. Just trying to not lose the game. Much easier said than done because there's Zerg everywhere. But look at this unit comp right here from MeomaikA. So he sees full Terran mech with battle cruisers for support, and he decides to play Hydra Ling. I would argue that this is probably the worst unit composition you can play. I'm not even joking. I mean, I could come up with a worse one if you really needed me to, but like, you know, this is definitely not what we normally see. Roach Ravager Ling, significantly better. Roach Ravager with like Viper support, really powerful. We could go into Infestors with Neural Parasite. I think, I don't know, Corruptors are obviously an excellent choice right here to deal with battle cruisers. Corruptors into Brute Lords, excellent choice. Swarm Host have their option here too. But no, MeomaikA, he loves the Hydra and he will play the Hydra. And you know what? This is a situation that I don't think we've ever seen before, where Zerg players are happily pushing into siege-top tanks like that while taking down, well, dozens of SCVs. So once more, that's 24 workers going down. Hydra's here up north as well, going, well, to shut down whatever they can. It is worth noting, by the way, that this is, in many seasons of StarCraft 2, the worst map for Zerg against Terran. This map has an incredible win rate for TVZ. So, I'm a little surprised MeomaikA decided to play this in the first place, because obviously he could have vetoed it, but it's clear that he has a strategy that is very different than what we normally do. A nice little bit of micro right there by XY as well, trying to mitigate as much of that splash damage as possible. Slowly though, what is happening here? So we do have a backup Hydra then. Alright, I was wondering if I missed an attack in the main base, but no, we just have a secondary Hydralist then. Slowly but surely, the battlecruiser count is growing. We're up to 5 battlecruisers. 6th one is coming. Air attacks are being researched too. No battlecruiser has gone down yet at this point in the game. And that now means that, well, the Hydras need to be accompanied by something else. And that something else is going to be the Viper. Then again though, these units deal so much damage. That was truly the abduction of a lifetime. 1 BC ultimately falls here, but they have been exceptionally cost efficient, especially now that the Vipers also fall. This expansion has been denied multiple times. XY has repositioned the command center to try and continue mining from that one gas geyser, because when you do play... Oh, really? Okay. When you do play this mass battlecruiser army, this mass Terran mech army in general, you end up needing a ton of gas. He's going for a new base right now over on the right side of the map. Another expansion here is being made at the bottom of the map too, as the golden minerals are mostly run out right here for MeomaikA. +3/+3 for the ground units. Coming up. Do we have Adrenal Glands? We do not. I think Adrenal Glands is actually a no-brainer. These have been unupgraded zerglings other than the +2. Obviously very strong, but I think having an additional 40% or so attack speed on Hydras is not a bad choice. XY though, taking this very pivotal base, trying to micro back, does manage to jump it. This one won't be so lucky. What about that? Okay, he will be able to jump away. The jump away as far as possible. It takes about a second. Here we go again though. MeomaikA goes into the choke point. Planetary Fortress finishes up right now. Big fight happening as well over on the left side of this engagement though, as we have tons of siege tanks tearing everything down. MeomaikA tried to push through, but I think ultimately that Planetary Fortress, as well as that engagement on the left side, it repelled him. Okay, so additional Vipers coming up. Another battlecruiser coming up. +2 on the production tab 2 right now for those BCs. Keep in mind that battlecruisers benefit from those upgrades a ton, because they attack really quickly, and every single one of those missiles gets little damage boosts. So the damage improvement for those battlecruisers is massive. Likewise, the armor mitigation right here on those Hydras is really good actually for MeomaikA against unupgraded BCs in particular. Okay. Now, there is definitely a moment where I think you don't want to play Hydra anymore. I think that moment was before he made the Hydra den. Personally, I am not personally a lover of the Hydra, but this is a very effective play. I think overall, though, there is definitely a moment where you do need to transition towards Corruptors. What does MeomaikA do? Fully disagrees with me. And that is completely okay. You can always disagree with me. This doesn't need to be an echo chamber. But we can go ahead and make an Ultralisk Cavern instead. Ultras, of course, can be used to tank a lot of damage. They will allow those Zerglings and Hydras to close the distance towards the siege tanks a little easier. Do we have some abductions available? I think we do. Obviously, though, these can still jump. Yeah, you need fungal growth from infestors to try and prevent that from happening. So in order to prevent any movement ability in StarCraft 2, fungal growth can be played. Nice Widowmine connection over there. Siege tanks get abducted into the Hydralisk ball, but a bunch more of them end up going down. Okay, another set of abductions here. These two that are low hit points already were abducted previously, so they can't use that technical jump to get to safety. And that's 2 of them going down. But in total now, we're talking 130 Hydras down the drain. And if it's up to MeomaikA, he's gonna make more. Fully upgraded. Adrenal Glands coming right now. I like it. I think +3 melee, also a great choice. But XY has stabilized. Yeah. He's effectively playing a campaign mission right now, right? Where he's just trying to not lose and ultimately max out on a very powerful group of units. Chitinous plating coming. We have Thors on the production tab too. I think MeomaikA, yeah, not really somebody who would transition towards, for example, Broodlords. But XY is a little concerned about that sort of potential. This fight over here, though, with all of those siege tanks unsieged, very dangerous. But I think ultimately the Hydra DPS is not quite strong enough. Although there were a couple Zerglings still left over, blocked by the battlecruisers. They're going to be running on over. Well, eventually they got shut down. Hydra's here trying to work on a planetary fortress, or at least what will likely be a planetary fortress in the near future. But not quite enough. It's the only thing that remains right now are a bunch of bloody corpses. Okay. There's still one expansion, by the way, at the 12 o'clock position. That can be very helpful. Tactical jumps once again being used. And that's an excellent way to get out of trouble. I really like XY using that ability defensively. Now here comes the swarm once again. Blinding clouds are being used this time around, and a lot of the siege tanks, desperately repositioned, tried their best to fall back, but they also clumped up in the process. XY, though, is going to be able to stay alive for now, but it is something that he needs to keep in mind, because he can't really afford throwing away this very expensive Terran army. Siege tank count, though, through the roof. We're now talking 16 siege tanks. Thors are coming. Wait. Did we lose an Ultra Cavern? Hold up right now. What killed the Ultra Cavern? Where was the Ultra Cavern? Huh? Hold up, I need to go way back. Oh, the Ultra Cavern was over here at the bottom of the map. Ah, okay. Why was that Ultra Cavern at the bottom of the map? So that's, by the way, why we had those Yamato guns being used right there. It didn't even register for me that he targeted. I don't even think the Ultras are that scary of a unit, but here's that fight once more. Why in the world did MeomaikA make the Ultra Cavern over here? Yeah, now I remember, but that was truly one of the moves of all time. All right, back to where we were, back to where he starts up another Ultra Cavern. I was thinking maybe just like the Hydra Den, we're making a backup. But apparently not the case. This time around, it's gonna be tucked away safely inside of the main. XY managed to stay alive for a very long time, but he needs to be cautious here too. This is not a game where he has mass command center. This is not a game where he can really easily lose a bunch of stuff and then reinforce. In a very weird way, these fights haven't even been that terrible for Zerg. I mean, they have been cost inefficient, no doubt. But he has been out mining the Terran for a long while, and there have been a lot of siege tanks that are on siege just like this. Another nice blinding cloud over here. He's actually gonna try and hunt this down. In the meantime, you may be wondering, where are the battle cruisers? Well, they were cruising through the center of the map, going after whatever they can. Already though, 31 SCVs have gone down. A bunch of drones are falling. This hatchery looks like it's gonna be next as well, but is this really a cost-efficient trade right here for the Terran? Losing so much in the process and being completely shut off from the bottom of the map now. So, yeah, I was gonna say, it's really only these siege tanks that remain. Battle cruisers in the meantime continue raiding. This is a natural expansion of the Zerg. Hydralisk Den at this point has been destroyed, but keep in mind we have a backup Hydra Den. Plus, we have another way of exiting the main base now too, since those golden minerals have been mined out. A third Hydra Den is coming up. Yeah, we need a backup for the backup Hydra Den. This is the assistant to the assistant of the regional manager. One battle cruiser here ultimately falls. Tactical jump is available though, and they are gonna be used. Okay. 23 drones down the drain. I think if MeomaikA can strike at this base at the bottom, he's got a very good shot at actually cleaning up a lot of the map. It's just that he's been... Yeah, he's been mining a lot, but he also has been losing a lot. And at this point, he doesn't have that much income. So look at the resources lost here. Nearly 14,000 resources. Just as far as minerals go, lost more here for the Zerg. Quite a bit more gas as well. So that's essentially like a full base worth. Not quite, but almost. I think this is one of those no-brainer upgrades. Yeah, interestingly enough, we hadn't gotten it yet, or we had not seen it yet, but that's building armor, followed up with high-sec auto-tracking. Additional armor on the Terran structures, excellent choice. High-sec auto-tracking is a ranged upgrade for battle cruise, or not for battle cruise, they wish, for planetary fortresses. And missile turrets. Another command center ends up going down. And we do have now a bit of a follow-up here. More CCs coming. XY's got to be careful though. He doesn't know the situation of the economy of the Zerg here very well. It's very difficult for Terran to keep track of exactly how much there is. He doesn't know, for example, has this base been retaken? Well, MeomaikA is thinking about it. Looks like XY is thinking the same thing, but... Tactical jump is not available for all of these battle cruisers, and well, if you're gonna use it like that, it's not gonna be available for any of them anymore. Okay, lovely play right there for MeomaikA. This battle cruiser did jump towards the northern base. There's that expansion to the right of this one too that is fresh out of the factory right here from MeomaikA. Okay. He's running across up north. Maybe a cheeky little old army hotkey here, or at least it looks like one, because he's sending a load of zerglings in this direction. Not usually the scariest target for a battle cruiser. This bad boy right now is all the way up to 31 kills, which is not bad at all. Hydra's over here. Should be okay. This one, though, does not have tactical jump, actually. Can I get it? Can I get it? Yep, they can. What about this one? It does have tactical jump. But does XY realize that it does? Okay, well... Apparently, he barely does not need it, as SCVs rush for the rescue, as they will try to repair it back up. There we go. Abduction being used up north, too, and... That's another VC down the drain. So we're now talking 10 killed battle cruisers. Nearly 24 minutes into this game. Who is winning? I have a very hard time. I have a very hard time deciding who is ahead. Well, I know, but it is a little tricky here for sure. Hydras running through that golden mineral field as finally one of them has been mined out. And that now creates an extra opening as well inside of the main base of the Terran. Terran at this point spread very thin. So the main base has a couple protective units. Base over here at the front, I mean, there's a load of siege tanks up there. But that does mean that this expansion and this one over here on the right, relatively poorly protected. Although I guess you have to mostly go through this choke point and yeah, good luck little zerglings, that's never going to happen. Okay. MeomaikA still strolling around the map like he owns the place. No creep threat, by the way, or very little, which really does hurt quite a bit. But here we go. He's found a section of the Terran army. This is like, what, 30% or so of the Terran army? Maybe a little more than that, but... And this is the downside of being spread so thinly all over the map. In a straight-up fight, Terran would always win. But you never know where that fight is going to take place, so you're forced to take multiple locations all at the same time. And a full Zerg army going up against a partial Terran army is very doable again here for the Hydra player. Infernal Pre-Igniter coming up, by the way. That is the Blue Flame upgrade for Hellions. XY is thinking he's gonna run out of gas here at some point. Dude, this is blinding cloud heaven over here. Not apparently. It won't be happening. As actually, XY is thinking about taking this base for himself. He really should not be producing too many command centers here because they're expensive. There's rarely any resources to really mine. With 57 SCVs, I don't think more orbitals is gonna do him much good. But he likes to scan. I guess that is what we're aiming for. Don't forget about these golden minerals, by the way. I think making a supply depot and then a command center over there is actually very, very effective. Cheeky little widow mine up there, too. 28 confirmed kills. This bad boy's still around. Yeah. Command center's here in trouble. Fully upgraded Hydras, even, well, with building armor, those structures just melt. Speaking of units that melt, though, those Hydras not looking all too great whenever they are within range of those siege tanks. XY mostly depleted the bank as well. He still has a bunch of gas, but it's a difficult decision to make. Where exactly do you spend it? Okay. Imagine Corruptors, guys. Imagine Corruptor Broodlord. I just want you to keep that in the back of your mind, okay? I like what MeomaikA is doing. This is one of the most entertaining games of StarCraft I've ever seen. But believe it or not, Zerg does have access to these, to other units. We only see really 3 units in this entire game, and I do just think there are others that could be useful. XY has decided to set his sights right now at the base up north. Upon seeing that, MeomaikA immediately pounces at the base down south. I'm assuming, yeah, the siege tanks are still spread around, so there's not really a great opportunity here. Blinding Cloud on the planetary fortress does work. Would love to see it. Something a lot of Zerg players don't always consider, but it is definitely an option. Hello. I think it's a great option, actually. Anyways, battle cruisers, after taking care of a bunch of those drones, they're letting the siege tanks finish off the hatch, and the Hellbats apparently are gonna start roaming around at one of those bases up north. Blue Flame Hellbats, can't really kill them with Zergling, so Hydras are gonna be needed for that task. MeomaikA forced to pull back once again. A base that was previously mining, though, in favor of the Zerg, has now been taken by the Terran, and that's a big win. Now the base is up north, though. Might be next. Yeah, I think the spread on the siege tanks is a little too good. Excellent work right there by XY. And MeomaikA is realizing that at this point, there's really not a whole lot he can do anymore. And he decides to tap out which means that XY is going to be the victor in this match. I really hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button down below. And if you really enjoyed it, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get notified as soon as future videos go live. Now today, I also want to give a special shout out to the absolute bosses and legends on your screen. Thank you to the Patreon supporters for directly supporting my channel. For now though, have a great rest of your day. Don't forget to smile. And I hope to see you once again very soon for another video.